We start with our Newsmaker segment and talk about one of the most persistent topics of debate in the metro area, the future of KCI. The last few days have been chaotic in the KCI saga, with battles over alleged conflicts of interest against a council member and a member of the city's legal team. The city's selection committee reached a final decision on Wednesday and picked Edgemoor Infrastructure and Real Estate of Bethesda, Maryland. The council must now ratify the choice, and then voters will decide whether to build a new airport on November the 7th. To talk with us about all of this is Kevin Koster, who created the website Save KCI. Mr. Koster, welcome to Ruckus. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So before we talk about what happened the last few days, let's talk about what's happened over the past several years and some history. Why did you start this website back in, I believe, 2013?
Well, about 4 years ago, I happened to be reading a story in the Star talking about the aviation department wanting to push forward with the idea of a new single terminal, and they needed to hire a PR firm and pay them about $17,000 to spin it. My first thought was, it was such a great idea, why do we need to pay $100,000 to spin it? And the more I looked into the proposal, the more things in it didn't make sense as a user of the airport, such as horrible customer experience and inconvenient and an environmental disaster waiting to happen, things like that. And I noticed that nobody was asking the questions. I read the article and I had more questions after reading it than I had before I read it, so I just decided to ask them myself.
And you got a lot of response from people who found the website, and I'm curious about that. What kind of responses did you get? Mostly that agreed with you that there were problems that aren't being addressed, or did you get notes from people saying we got to have a one-terminal brand new airport?
Well, I think initially there was a lot of thank you for doing this, unexpected. There was apparently I'd opened some pent-up. A lot of people have apparently been asking these questions and had a forum to ask them. So we sort of just threw it open to be, this will be the place to bring the questions that you don't think are being asked elsewhere. So I think at first there was mostly people that wondered why we needed to go down this road. And then over time, started getting some people on both sides, and it became a nice debate. I set ground rules, no name calling and things like that. And there have been some good discussions, I think.
And the mayor appointed you to his committee to study possibilities for a new airport.
Right.
Was that a good experience?
It was for me. I mean, I learned a lot about airports. I think in general it was somewhat frustrating because it became clear as we went through the process that it was sort of, the committee itself was, I don't want to necessarily say predestined. Some would say it was predestined, but there was a definitive commitment toward finding a certain outcome, I think.
Well, given your interest in this and your experience, do you have an opinion? Do you think Kansas City needs a new one-terminal airport, or do you think the present three-terminal structure should just be renovated?
I think the market's evolving a lot. I think 4 years ago, there's no question we didn't need it. I think there's some things have changed with aviation and the airline capacities and things like that. There might be, there's a better argument now for a single terminal, certainly, than there was 4 years ago. But we'll have to wait and see what Edgemoor comes up with.
Are you going to continue the website?
Yes.
Are you planning to take a position once you decide whether this is worthwhile or not?
Probably. Again, we need to wait and see what Edgemoor comes back with and get some more commitments from the airlines. One of the things that was stated was that the airlines were going to pay for the single terminal, which is a bending of the truth somewhat. They're going to continue to pay rent, and they'll make up some of the difference if we don't sell enough hot dogs with the new concession stands. They'll make up part of that, but the largest single piece of revenue at the airport's from parking.
Your background, I think, is in marketing. How would you say the marketing of the rollout of the new one-terminal airport plan is going to affect the way voters perceive this election?
Oh, I think it's going to be a huge piece. But I also...
Good or bad?
Well, I think it needs to be honest. I think there's been enough discussion of this over the last 4 years that it just needs to be open and honest. And, if I were advising the opposition, I would say look for every area where they are less than truthful and exploit that. And if I was working for the other side, I'd say be open and honest and not let anybody come back with a question calling into question the integrity of the process.
And people want to get to your website. What's the address?
SaveKCI.org.
SaveKCI.org. Mr. Koster, thank you very much. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
That is Kevin Koster of the Save KCI website. Now let's meet the panel and start a ruckus.